Inspiring and including means acting as a multiplier for others through direct action, modeling, and/or your words, ensuring that everyone feels they belong and has equal access to opportunity. Amanda Lynn said, "Something I love to do is help other artists and collaborate with other artists. It just keeps my fire lit." Take a moment to think about how this quote resonates with you in relation to your own experience of helping and collaborating with others. Wendy Ryan, creator of the Learn, Lead, Lift framework, explains what inclusive culture looks like inside the organization.
Leaders are not solo actors, although in American culture, we tend to reinforce this view, and we definitely portray them this way in our media. The higher you ascend in an organization, the larger the number of people who have and are actively contributing to your continued success every day. That's why great leaders talk in terms of we, not I, both when describing their past accomplishments and when planning their next. I is a self-limiting paradigm. Leadership that does not inspire us collectively to achieve things beyond what we thought were possible is limiting. And leadership that doesn't cast a wide net of potential beneficiaries rings hollow at its core. Is your organization's culture inclusive? Yes, if people feel authentically seen, their voice is heard, and psychologically safe. Not just some people, or most people, but all. A significant blind spot for many leaders is how they personally contribute to people feeling not seen, not heard, and not safe. Most leaders I've worked with are completely unaware that they are part of the problem. Leaders can't afford to be naive about this anymore, literally, for a host of reasons. The next generation of leadership won't be able to access the talent they need unless they can take their blinders off and take action now. This isn't easy. Taking your blinders off means you have to be willing to confront and wrestle with your personal discomfort, frustration, anger, shame, guilt, and other negative emotions around these issues on an ongoing basis. Fans of the first Matrix movie might recognize this is exactly what Neo did when he took the blue pill instead of the red one. Is creating more conscious leaders enough to build inclusive cultures in an organization? Sadly, no. If leaders are highly inclusive in their mindsets and behaviors, that doesn't guarantee that organization structure, processes, and policies will be. Leaders are only one part of the system. You have to work on multiple components at the same time for inclusion and diversity to thrive. When organizations succeed, they usually outperform their peers. The business case for bias mitigation, diversity, and inclusion as table stakes for the future is very compelling. In the COVID-19 era, organizations learned big lessons about how collective leadership translates to greater speed, creativity, agility, and resilience. Casting hierarchy aside, they put people with the most relevant knowledge and skills together to solve problems in real time. Worrying about what school someone attended, whether English was their first language, or whether they were male, non-binary, gay, straight, Muslim, Jewish, etc., suddenly seemed a lot less important, as it should be. Smart organizations will pay attention to who steps up during times of crisis and figure out how to support those individuals in going further, faster in their career development. And smart organizations will leverage the opportunity to smooth their path with policies, practices, and decision-making designed to make inclusion part of the organization's DNA instead of a blue pill.
Multiplication is a key outcome of inspiration. It's important to assess equality, openness, and belonging through two different perspectives. What does it feel like? What does it look like? Multiplication is another word for synergy. I invite you to pause and take a moment to think about how you would define synergy in your own words. It's possible to feel positively inspired by someone or something without being included in it. Think about the last time you watched a video of someone delivering an inspiring speech. A great example would be Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous speech entitled, "I Have a Dream." Negative events or experiences can also inspire us to change the status quo. Think of a time when you were very inspired by someone to take action. Would you describe their inspiration as positive or negative? More importantly, inspiring people is a skill anyone can learn. It doesn't require you to have charisma or any particular set of personality traits. Practicing inclusion is also a skill set. The science behind inclusion is clear that unless people experience a sense of fairness or equality, welcome or openness and belonging in your organization, then you don't reap the benefits of diversity. In other words, it's not enough for leaders to be intentional about recruiting and hiring diverse talent. According to research by McKinsey, it's important for leaders to assess whether employees experience equality, openness, and belonging at a visceral, emotional level, or what it feels like. Leaders also need to assess what it looks like. That is, which actions or initiatives have been taken by the organization internally and externally. In Learn, Lead, Lift, Wendy Ryan wrote, "Beyond being intentionally inclusive in your communications, whether your goal is to inspire people or not, including others means casting a wider net." Based on your experience, consider what suggestions you have for leaders so that people would say it both feels like and looks like, "I belong here at work." Pause here to refer to the table on page 161 in the book Learn, Lead, Lift. While inspiring and including can be a powerful practice, here are a few considerations. Cultural competence and cultural humility are essential to ensure a leader's stories will have their desired impact. Increasing diversity and representation does not automatically result in greater equality, inclusion, or belonging in a team or organization. In fact, without a strong sense of inclusion and belonging, fewer people in your organization will feel engaged and inspired by your leadership. In Session 2, on adapting mindsets, we discussed how cultural competence and cultural humility are key components of an identity matters mindset. Together, they also enable us to be much more effective at inspiring and including because we are more self-aware and other-aware when we share stories intending to inspire our team members. When we don't cultivate an identity matters mindset or work to develop cultural competence and cultural humility, we risk alienating or offending the people we were hoping to inspire instead. If you have a very diverse talent pool, but too few people in your organization experience a sense of belonging, then your ability to inspire and engage them is going to be limited. Another way to think about this is culture is both an enabler and a constraint for leadership effectiveness. Organizations succeed more often when they work to optimize both. Some things that you can start doing now to enhance your skill set for inspiring and including can be found on page 16 of your action guide. Write or record your leadership story. Study story architecture. Create 2 to 3 signature stories that you can share with diverse audiences to inspire, and ask yourself, who are we not thinking about? Storytelling is one of the most powerful vehicles for you to inspire people. Did you know that you can diagram the plot of a story on a graph? We call these diagrams story arcs and assign them names such as Rags to Riches, Cinderella Story, etc. Take a moment to consider what other types of stories you can think of. When we visualize our stories in this way, it helps us to make them more engaging and impactful for the people we want to inspire. It reminds us that our stories need to be brief. We don't want to lose our audience by sharing too many unnecessary details. Coming up with 2 to 3 signature stories isn't as daunting as it may sound. Everyone has stories. If you would like some help with this, check out Kadabra's downloadable Your Learn, Lead, Live Story workbook, which includes a video tutorial. It's a great resource. And be sure to share your stories in draft form with people you trust to give you honest feedback, including those who represent who you want to inspire. Lastly, a great question to be asking yourself every day is, who are we not thinking about or inviting to this meeting or asking for their opinion? This simple question reminds us to cast a wider net. What is one thing you're committed to doing to integrate the skill set, inspiring and including?